I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. Okay, so in our last video, we finished out 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 22. Now, we read in this chapter, as well as chapter 18 of Chronicles, of the final battle of Ahab, where he died, and his son Ahaziah becomes king. Ahaziah will reign for 2 years, and then his son will become king. But Jehoshaphat is still king in the southern kingdom. That's the main thing I want to make sure that's clear here. I know that in the last video we mentioned Jehoshaphat's death, but at this time, as we read, we are now turning to 2 Kings chapter 1. And during this time, Jehoshaphat is still alive, and he is still king in the southern kingdom. Let us read this. The second book of the Kings, commonly called the fourth book of the Kings. Chapter 1. Ahaziah turns to Baal-Zebub to learn if he will live. Elijah prophesies his death and calls down fire from heaven to consume soldiers sent to apprehend him. This is another fun story about Elijah. I do enjoy this one too. So, here we go. Then Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab, and Ahaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria, and was sick. And he sent messengers and said unto them, Go, inquire of Baal-Zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. But the angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel that ye go to inquire of Baal-Zebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore, thus saith the Lord, Thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. And Elijah departed. So this is interesting. Ahaziah falls down through a lattice in his upper chamber. So it's like the railing collapses and he falls. And he is injured in this, I don't know how far he fell. But he's injured in this fall. Injured to the point where he is worried about dying. And so he's a worshiper of Baal. So he sends to this particular, Baal-Zebub is still Baal, but it's a specific location and altar. And, this is where you would go to inquire for your stuff. Kind of like the Oracle of Delphi for the Greeks. This is kind of what it was. And Elijah comes to the messengers. He's like, Why are you going to Baal? There's a God in Israel, but because you ignored the God of Israel, you're going to die. But, verse 5. And when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are ye now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Is it not because there is not a God in Israel that thou sendest to inquire of Baal-Zebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore, thou shalt not come down from that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you, and told you these words? And they answered him, He was an hairy man, and girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, It is Elijah the Tishbite. Okay, so they delivered Elijah's message to Ahaziah. And then they describe, when they describe him as being a hairy man, girt with a girdle of leather, they're not talking about him actually being hairy. He's wearing a tunic of hair, a like camel skin or camel hair tunic. That's what they mean by hairy, is that his clothes are made from the hair of animals. So, and the king recognizes the descriptions. That is Elijah. So remember, he became king. He's not like a child. He probably saw Elijah. He might have even been there when Elijah did the test on Mount Carmel. So we don't know how well he knew him, but he was definitely familiar with Elijah. Verse 9. Then the king sent unto him a captain of 50 with his 50. And he went up to him, and behold, he sat on the top of an hill. And he spake unto him, Thou man of God, the king hath said, Come down. And Elijah answered and said to the captain of 50, If I be a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again also he sent unto him another captain of 50 and his 50, and he answered and said unto him, O man of God, thus hath the king said, Come down quickly. And Elijah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And he sent again a captain of third 50 with his 50. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Elijah and besought him and said unto him, O man of God, I pray thee, let my life and the life of these 50 thy servants be precious in thy sight. Behold, there came fire down from heaven, and burnt up the two captains of the former 50s with their 50s. Therefore let my life now be precious in thy sight. And the angel of the Lord said unto Elijah, Go down with him. Be not afraid of him. And he arose and went down with him unto the king. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Forasmuch as thou hast sent messengers to inquire of Baal-Zebub, the god of Ekron, is it not because there is no God in Israel to inquire of his word? Therefore thou shalt not come down off that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. Now before we finish this out, I love this. This is just a great story. You got to picture what's going on here. Ahaziah gets this message, and he's angry, and he wants to verify that this is the message. So he sends his 50 soldiers out with their captain, and they come, and apparently this isn't just they come up and say, Hey, will you come down? And Elijah's, we're just going to... They came, probably encircling the hill. They were going to come and force him. They were coming there to bring him under guard by force of arms to the king. That's why he calls down the fire and sizzles them up. Second group comes, same thing happens. They try to take him by force, and he calls down the fire. I like the third captain. He comes in and he's not surrounding him. He's not threatening him. He says, look, the king sent me. I've got to bring the message, but I'm not here to force you. Have mercy on us. Don't kill us. We're just doing what we've been told. We're just trying to obey the king. And the angel of the Lord tells Elijah to go, so he goes. And the first two were there to take Elijah by force, and they were killed. The third one came pleading for his life and the life of his men, and saying, just come to the king because we don't want to deal with either one of you. And so he went. They showed the humility, and so he went. And he delivers the exact same message. You're going to die because you went to seek after the Baal-Zebub. So he's confirming to Ahaziah that the message that he received was the true message. Let us read these last two verses here. So he died according to the word of the Lord, which Elijah had spoken. And Jehoram reigned in his stead in the 2nd year of Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no son. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaziah, which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And again, we have a discrepancy here, because it says in the 2nd year of Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat. But Jehoshaphat is still technically king for another 5 or 6 years, so his son Jehoram is not yet king. Now, it's interesting. Jehoram becomes king in Israel while Jehoram is king in Judah. So we got a period, however brief, when the king of both kingdoms has the same name. Now, in Chronicles, the king of Judah, his name is given as Joram, not Jehoram. And so I generally distinguish the two. You have Jehoram in Israel and Joram in Judah. But it's interesting that they have the same name. And we will see that Jehoshaphat did outlive Ahaziah. So there's a slight discrepancy in the timing here, it does happen a couple of times, but it's just an interesting. I don't know why but the last thing I do want to say, the Jehoram here is not the son of Ahaziah, because it says Ahaziah had no sons. Jehoram is his brother, another son of Ahab. We're going to leave that here. We will pick this up in 2 Chronicles chapter 19. And this will be, I believe, still while Ahaziah is alive. Maybe I should have put these chapters in different order. But this will be a time of Jehoshaphat and Ahaziah together. So we will see that in the next video, and I will see you there.